This is my TI 99 4A computer. I've had this computer for about a month or so. Never owned one before. Had Was always interested in it during the 80s when I would read about some of the things it could do in Compute Magazine. There was a lady called C. Regina, I think that was her name, that did a column on the TI 99 4A, and and it seemed impressive. The hardware, I think, is very good. It seems top quality to me. It's well built. It's it's a heavy machine. Love the keyboard. Uh, the keyboard is better than some of the Commodore computers, in my opinion. Even though I do like the Commodore keyboards, uh, and the Atari keyboards, the Texas Instruments computer, the keyboard is just slightly better. Why, I don't know. It feels better. It's got the right amount of travel in the keys, and it's not too loud. It's not too soft. It's just right. It's in the Goldilocks zone, I guess. Like I said, it's well built. Uh, 32 sprites, and uh, before I go into why I think it's junk, okay, here's a brief history with me and how I came to find out about this machine.
All right. First of all, around 1976 or 1977, as a school on a school field trip that I took, we went to Oak Ridge National Laboratories, and we were allowed to play on one of their terminals they had. I don't think this is it, but it looked very similar to this, and you could play Hangman on it. Okay, and that's the first time I'd ever seen the computer in person, and it was very impressive to me. Then around 78, 1978, 1979, something like that, I was in Roses, and I saw a Texas Instruments 99. It was either 4 or 4A. I'm not sure which. I think it was the 4, but it was definitely had the silver finish on it. And I thought it was interesting, but I wasn't impressed because in that, to me, it seemed like it belonged in an office and it didn't seem approachable. Um, it just, it, it's not that I just didn't want to mess with it. It seemed like something like should be in a business or something. And in the same area, they had an Atari 400 computer, which I was much more impressed with. you know, so
But then in the early 80s, I saw this machine, which I really liked a lot. I liked what they did with the color. It was much more uh, approachable, I guess, and I got interested in it. And but I was never able to get one. In the 80s, I mostly messed around with Atari and Commodore computers, and didn't have a chance to do anything on the Texas Instruments computer. But I did read about it. That's one of the good things about Compute Magazine at the time was they covered many computers, and so not only could you learn about the computer that you had, but you could kind of get little bits of information about computers you didn't have. And one of the cool things about the TI 994A is it had 32 sprites. So now let me get into why I think it's junk. Okay.
the problem is the basic. The basic is horrible. First of all, you can't edit a line. You've got to retype the whole thing. Um, so unlike uh,
the Atari or the Commodore computers. On the TI,
You've got to type the entire line over again. You know, the other 8-bit computers had full screen editing. You could go up, you could make a change, just hit enter or return, and it would put that back in the memory. But nope, not on the TI. Uh, and plus something else, the basic built into the Texas Instruments 4A computer, you cannot access the sprites. The machine
has 32 sprites, but you can't use them. Okay? You can't use them on just the basic machine. You've got to have this, which I bought recently just so I could access some of the, cooler functions in the machine. So while the hardware is fantastic, it's a very well built machine, high quality, in my opinion. And you can you can feel the quality, by the weight. It's got weight to it. You just heard the thump when it hit the table there. The basic ruins it. It just ruins it. Even the extended basic is doesn't have full screen editing. Uh, it's a disappointment. The basic on these machines is a really big disappointment for me. And even though I do love the keyboard, it's missing some basic functionality. The backspace. Let me see. You've got to hold down this key and I think press 4 or 3, something like that, for backspace. Or is it? It's hard to remember. You got to have the alpha lock key down, but then not have it down for like certain cartridge games or something. The it's confusing. So I love the keyboard, but they should have added a few more keys on it so you didn't have to hold this button down. And the enter key is small. I mean, it's just I don't know. I think they could have done a better job, a little bit more thought. But anyway, I'm planning on porting my RPG game that I'm writing on this thing, the 600 XL. And I was hoping it was going to be real easy, but messing with the basic on this thing, it's going to be kind of tricky. This will probably be the toughest challenge I'm going to have in porting this game to these other various machines, because on the Commodore machines, I mean, especially like the 128 and the 16, and even the VIC 20 with the where is it? With the Super Expander cartridge, it's going to be pretty easy to port that game over. So right now, the only thing that the TI 994A has going for it for me, besides it, I love the hardware, the way it's built, but it's it can save and load. Okay, so I can save and load programs to my modern day PC using just a cassette cable. That's fantastic. Uh, and of all the computers I bought off eBay, the only ones that fully function are the TI 994A, the 600 XL, which was the first computer I got off eBay, first old 8-bit computer that I've had in years. The VIC 20, which is actually my fault that it's slightly messed up. I burnt part of the sound chip on it out, and that was my fault messing with the data set. The Commodore 16, forget about it. That thing ain't never going to work. I mean, not unless I'm not even thinking about that. And the 128 and the Commodore 64, which is built into that, I haven't fully tested that out yet. So the only machines I have, oh, the color computer, which it's got problems. It can't. Its cassette interface is messed up. So out of all the 8-bit computers I bought, right now, if I was going to, complete it today, there's only two of these machines that I could have that game running on, and that's this one and the 600 XL. So this is just an update and a rant. All right. I'll talk to you guys later.